A new Inspector General's report released this week was, quote, unable to substantiate claims of verbal and physical abuse made by the ACLU on behalf of illegal immigrant children detained at border facilities. In fact, among 57 unannounced visits to 41 facilities between July 17th and August 20th, the IG reported that, quote, most facilities were compliant with UAC laws, that's unaccompanied children laws, regulations and policies. These include requirements on access to operable and sanitary toilets and sinks, provisions of food and drinking water, access to emergency medical care, and access to telephones. The only major deficiency investigators discovered was inconsistent temperatures. But the report also found that with border agents spending so much time attending to the processing and care of these kids, resources and attention are clearly being diverted from the source of the problem, securing the border. Joining me tonight is Nelson Balido, the CEO of the Border Commerce and Security Council, and he is with me for Q&A. Welcome.
Thank you, Tara. Great to be with you.
So I read over this Inspector General's report, and I looked at this and I said, okay, the ACLU is getting involved. We have these pro-illegal immigrant groups getting involved, and it almost seemed as though they were conjuring up these allegations of abuse and things like that, which is a tactic that they've employed in the past, just to try to get sympathy or to try to get legal representation for these kids on a larger scale. But the Border Patrol was exonerated here. Is this something that you see becoming a greater problem, or was this just something the ACLU was doing to gain attention?
Well, I do agree that certainly the ACLU does things like this often to gain attention. There's a track record of them doing this, especially when you have these types of migrations like you do currently. The great thing is that the IG report basically said that, there is certainly nothing to back that up. So I think that what's going to happen in the near future is that's going to be calmed down. Certainly, I know the CBP investigates and takes all these allegations serious, but certainly very far and few between have any really come up in the past.
Right, absolutely. I think it's actually rather despicable that they would cast aspersions on Border Patrol, who, by almost all accounts, acted heroically. The Inspector General said so. Folks who were down there on the ground have said so, that Border Patrol agents have come out of their own pockets to help feed and clothe these kids, bring them toys. So I thought it was rather despicable that the ACLU and these groups were doing this for their own political agenda. But the others aspect of this, which is actually a reality, is that Border Patrol agents are complaining, and I've spoken to them, that the resources and the manpower that would normally go to doing their normal jobs, which is trying to stop drug smugglers, human traffickers, and everything else coming across the border, that they just don't, the resources are insufficient. How are we supposed to change that, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I was able to go down and go on patrol with Border Patrol about 3.5 weeks prior to this whole child migration hitting the media. And I saw it with my very own eyes. I'll tell you, you have the Border Patrol working overtime. And they even told me, look, for the first time in many months, in fact, years in some cases, we're working overtime, which is good for the agent. However, I know there's many agents out there that are dressed in green that never signed up to be filling out papers and doing child care services. Certainly they want to be on patrol on the beat. I went out there with them, saw them in action. Mm-hmm. There's no question that there's heroes everywhere there, and they are our line of defense. We need to ensure that we support that and that we give them the resources that they need, and to make sure that they have the numbers out there that they can support each other back and forth. Because the last thing you need is somebody inside a holding facility processing papers and having their other buddies out there alone on the border.
Well, the Obama administration is allegedly taking credit for the fact that there's been a 50% reduction in these illegal immigrant kids coming across from June to July, saying that, oh, we've reshuffled manpower and that's what's contributing to stemming this. And the Border Patrol Union and folks on the ground are going, that is absolutely not true. But yet this administration still wants us to think that they're securing the border. Nelson, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Sarah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The Hispanic voting bloc is one that liberals have seemingly locked in, but it doesn't need to stay that way. Conservatives have plenty of opportunities to win over those voters, at least according to one author, and we'll talk to him next.